How do you deal with the constant battle of rejection? How are you able to deal with people that are so close to you, people that tell you that they love you, people that tell you that they care about you, but yet when it's time for them to be in your corner, when it's time for them to show up for you, they bail out? Where is the consistency of being able to show up for you when you need them, or to even give you some sound advice when it's time for you to go through your storm? Where are they? How do you deal with people that supposed to be your loved ones, supposed to be your parents or your siblings or close cousins or nieces or nephews, whatever, uncles and aunties, and they are the ones that are rejecting you the most? How do you combat that? Well, I was reading the other day and it was just talking about how there are so many stories in the Bible where people were rejected, but God vindicated them. The one story that comes to mind off top is the story of Joseph. Joseph was rejected by his brothers, sold into slavery, and they just didn't like him because his father liked him. But I'm assuming that the father must like the other brothers as well, but it wasn't good enough. Wasn't good enough that his brothers, or that the father liked the brothers as well. I take it that they wanted all the attention and wanted Joseph to not to have anything. But after some time, even in his, the Bible doesn't call it wilderness, I'm just going to call this wilderness, when he was away from his family, he still had to go through things, being lied on, trying to do the right thing, but then he was lied on, then thrown into prison for something that he did not do. But ultimately, God vindicated him from his brothers who rejected him for absolutely no reason, from what I like to think of just for simply being born. And I feel like many of us deal with stories and times and storms like this where you are just simply rejected just for your mere existence. And I find comfort in the story, not just because God vindicated him, but because through the storm that he went through, it allowed him to build his character to the strength and the capacity that he was able to be a king of a nation. Because could you imagine somebody being in rank, but they were so wishy-washy, all over the place, didn't have any type of stability? I feel like God took him through that so that he would be able to reign and have a good heart towards people and not treat them like he was treated, because he was treated very badly. Or I shouldn't say very badly, but he was treated badly by the people that's supposed to love him most. He was rejected and sold because the Father loved him. And that's just like many of us, we are rejected for things that are totally out of our control. But yet we feel the emotion that comes with that. And that's not always easy to deal with. In fact, it's not easy to deal with. But I know that God has placed us in these positions in order for us to thrive, not just go through life, allowing life to happen to us, to allow us to happen to life, if that makes sense. But just wanting to be in position where God ultimately gets the glory. Let God be the one to vindicate people for you. It is not easy, but as I always say, just because it's not easy and it doesn't come supernatural to us to just do it, it is necessary. It's necessary for whatever calling that God has on your life. It's necessary for your destiny. It's necessary to build your character and to grow you to new heights and to be able to carry the mantle and the calling that God has on your life. We don't know what we have to go through in order to get to, heard PMJ said the other day, for us to reach our destiny. But I know that there's going to be rejection in all forms, shapes, or fashion coming in our lives in order to build our character, to be sustained by God's calling on our lives and not the thing that man can do to us, because man is ultimately going to always reject us, right? Whether it's our family members, whether it's church members, whether it's co-workers, it's going to be some form of rejection that we're going to endure. And how we respond to that rejection is going to make the difference in how you get to your destiny and how you would treat it. Don't take the rejection as a form of something that you are doing wrong, as something that you need to build you in an area so that you can sustain the calling that God has for you. It's not just about having the calling. It's not about just walking in the calling, but it's also about, can you keep the calling and walk in it with humility, and knowing that everything that you have, it came from God. And if God decided to take it away as he did Job, he has the ability to do that. But also know that he has a ram in the bush as he did Abraham with Isaac, because God is a faithful God. He is faithful to do exactly what he said he was going to do. And that does not mean that he's going to do it exactly how you want him to do it. It just means that he is faithful to fulfill his promise that he has for you in your life. So do not let the rejection stop you from going forward and pursuing what God has for you.